now we reach a very special room for a very special guest. Some of you may remember a band called the Yetties. Never heard of them. The frontman has been performing, he has told me, for over 50 years. 50 years! Incredible. And I don't think in all of those years he's ever been introduced onto the stage by a man in drag. So this is his first time. I would like to introduce a lovely man, a very talented man, and he is called Mr. Bonny Sartin.
Gracious me. Wow. I think you're all right tonight, Drew. Good evening, one and all. Nice to be here in Odcombe. I was over here at Christmas time doing a concert in the church. But I do like a bit of variety in my life, so hence the tonight. Yeah, as you probably know, I sneak across the border over that way in Dorset, and of course a lot of stuff I do is Dorset stuff. And this is most definitely one of those. Because it's a courting song, but it's a hard courting. It's somebody having to chase the girl all over Dorset, around the villages and towns. But I rang up the Ministry for County Boundaries, and apparently at the next reshuffle, this is all going to be moved into Dorset. Okay, so I can get Odcombe in there, and if I do. If I get that far with it, I should expect a great cheer from you lot, all right? Don't worry if the odd crumb falls on the next door table, they'll enjoy that, a bit of extra bonus, all right? So it's called Courting Round Dorset. Now when I was young, I went courting round Dorset, a pretty young maid with a delicate touch, and rashly I promised I'd follow her anywhere. Well, I never thought she liked walking so much. She said, meet me this evening at Charmouth at 7, across the green meadows to Beminster we'll stroll. When I got to Charmouth, she'd popped into Bridport, and Ropemaker told me she'd gone to Punole. Ypesmouth and Abbotsbury, Winterbourne, Steepleton, I limped into Dorchester, weary and lame. I thought she might wait, but I was too late. She'd gone off with a milkman till Winterbourne came. I met her next evening by Fontmell Cross Street. She was fresh as a daisy, I was stiff as a board. She said, let's go up the hill to Tarrant and Gunville, and a drink of the bugle horn shall be your reward. Oh, blow that old bugle horn. She went on to Hinton, Monkton and Kingston and Spetsbury as well. As I crawled up Blandford, she cornered at Handford, and courted a clubman on Hambledon Hill. We went to Corfe Castle, round the ruins we rambled. She held my hand tight as the sun slipped away. I was ready for kissing, but off she went missing to Lulworth, Kimmeridge and Warborough Bay. I made her a gift of 2 lovely wool jumpers. I begged her to wear 'em, but still she'd not stop. Southern Sandbanks, the ferry to Brownsea. She said, let's go to Odcombe. And down I did drop. At Christmas to Sherborne, I took her shopping, but she sloped off the Thorncombe and Malbury bub. Gorscombe, Musterton, Toller, Precorum. At Newton, my maiden ran straight past the pub. She flew on to Batcombe, Upserne and Duntish. When I went to Pullham, she climbed Woolland Hill. As I paddled the piddle, she went to Pursecorner with a cove from the Navy they call Portland Bill. She said, men are feeble, to walk they ain't able. All over Dorset I've led you a dance. My dear, I says nicely, please don't deride me. If you want to ramble, give me one more chance. I said, let's start at Shaftesbury, then Marnell and Manston. I'll meet you on Bullbarrow Hill if you like. She was gone like the wind, but I just sat and grinned, 'cause in Hazelbury, Brian, I didn't me bike. When she got to Bullbarrow, I was in Stallbridge, put an ad in the paper saying, meet me in Lie. When she got to Derweston, I popped the question saying, stand still a minute, and please marry I. We honeymooned at Bedchester, lived cosy at Warmwell. I said I'd won her, she said, none of your lip. I knew you was cheating, and a girl can't be beaten by a bloke who goes walking in bicycle clips. We moved to Longbredy and raised a large family. The high hills of Dorset together we roam. But I know before long, when they've grown good and strong, our children will ramble away from their home. Thank you very much. Thank you. A little bit of Dorset philosophy now, if that's right with you, because it's good stuff. It's all good stuff. A saying over there, you see, which is so true, perfection's hard to come by when all's said and done. Yeah, how true is that? And for years I thought, well, I've got to be able to write a song or a rustic rhyme about that, and eventually it clicked. And I wrote this, and I showed it to my wife, who's my fiercest critic. And she says, well, yes, all right, you can do it, but not what I'm about. I'm about to break the rule. But it's about getting married, you see. And that line is your line. End of every verse, your line, perfection's hard to come by when all's said and done. Get stuck in, all right? When I were set on wedding bells, I went to meet her folks, because that's what was expected then of serious-minded blokes. They gawped, winked, and pointed, till Einer turned to run. But perfection's hard to come by when all's said and done. Her father shook me by the hand and said, now, are you sure? Her temper's something fearsome, and her language isn't pure. But you can have her if you want, and best of luck, my son, 'cause perfection's hard to come by when all's said and done. Her mother came and smothered me in girt big smacking kisses. I always said our Gertie would make a lovely missus. Just one word of warning, though, her cooking I would shun. But perfection's hard to come by when all's said and done. A deaf old granny hollered out, where are they going to stay? How much is he earning? Have you checked his pay? He looks proper tatty. 'Tis a scarecrow that she's won. But perfection's hard to come by when all's said and done. I never thought she'd settle, was her auntie's sly remark. She was always running with the boys and ready for a lark. There's one thing's for certain, she weren't cut out for a nun. But perfection's hard to come by when all's said and done. She done half like her cider, said her uncle with a grin, especially when it's pepped up with a totter to a gin. She's drunk us neath the table, each and every one. But perfection's hard to come by when all's said and done. A cousin nudged me in the ribs and said, you'm very brave. If she rolls over in the night, you're heading for your grave. Look at the size of her. She must weigh half a ton. But perfection's hard to come by when all's said and done. Now, we've been wed nigh 50 years, and I'm telling you, we've had some up and downs that turn the air quite blue. But I wouldn't change a thing. She'll always be the one, and perfection's hard to come by when all's said and done. So this is my philosophy, and one I recommend to workmate, acquaintance, family, and friend. If I'm a bit cantankerous and not a lot of fun, perfection's hard to come by when all's said and done. Thank you. There's a lot of lamenting and talk about changes in the countryside and all that, and you know, some people never look on the bright side. I think there's some things that have happened and absolutely ace, brilliant, so much better than when we were kids. And this is one of those short little saga, this one. It's called Honey Pots. Anybody of our age will have probably suffered the way we suffered with the privy at the bottom of the garden when we were kids, you know. Odes have long been written, and legends grow and grow, of the lean-tos and three-holers of many years ago. The local weekly paper tied up with a string, and a list of songs and melodies for you to hum or sing. But at the village fete or fair, no luxury existed. All calls of nature were, if possible, resisted. Facilities for gents were a simple canvas screen, which our lot called a rude word, and posh folks a latrine. Before zips were invented, young and nervous chaps needed more appendages to navigate these traps. With 2 hands for your buttons and 1 to hold the pole, in case you inadvertently slid towards the hole. But now at sites throughout the land, you'll hear a hearty cheer, because as if by magic, the honey pots appear, arriving like the TARDIS, but without the fuss and noise, to relieve a needy nation, particularly boys. And when the fun is over, at the ending of the day, the man who gathers honey pots whisks them all away. He's built like the things he moves, somewhat akin to Shrek. The nickname for him locally is Big Toulouse-Lautrec. Yeah. Another great change is since I was a kid, but the only holidays we had was village outings down in Weymouth and all that sort of thing. But nowadays, they zap off wherever you want. Can't even cruising in Sherborne is the thing. They all go cruising, you see. And down our road, a widow lived there for years, and on her own, just quietly. I was chatting to her one day, and she said, Bonnie, she said, I think I'm going to break out a bit. She said, all these years, I've lived here on my own, and I'm going on a cruise. And I said, oh, good for you, girl, good for you. Tell me all about it when you come back, you see. So I saw her a few weeks later, and I said, how'd you get on? She said, oh, magic, she said, marvellous. Got myself down to Southampton, she said, this enormous boat. Fantastic. And they looked after me, carried me luggage on board, showed me the cabin. Lovely it was, beautiful. So then it came to meal times, all dolled up. We had to get dolled up for it, she said. Went up there and sat down, and I looked across, and there was the captain. And oh, he was handsome in all his uniform. He did look, he looked good. And I met him the next day, and he said, my dear, he said, would you like to dine on my table this evening? So I thought, ooh, once in a lifetime job, this, yeah, thank you very much. Next day, he met her again and said, my dear, he said, would you like to dine alone with me in my cabin this evening? And I thought, well, once in a lifetime job. And he was so attentive. He was lovely. We had caviar, we had champagne, we had the works. It was fantastic. Next day, so that night he said, Madam, would you like to stay with me this evening, all night? So I said, no, I can't possibly do that. No, memory of my husband is still quite fresh, Next day, same thing happens, and she goes down in there, has a nice meal with the cabin and his cabin on his own. And he says again, darling, he said, would you stay with me this evening? And I thought, I just couldn't do that. Well, next day, same thing, see? And after the meal, he said, look, darling, he said, if you don't stay with me tonight, I will sink the ship. So that night, I saved the lives of 2,600 people. Twice. When I first met Son and Estrelle, wonderful characters they are too, the name Ferret cropped up. They've got some sort of affinity with ferrets. I'm not sure what it is. I'll not discover what it is yet. But I said, I do know a ferret song. And so I would do that now. I mean, our dad had a ferret when he was, catching rabbits and things with it. Horrible, horrible things, nasty things. But we lived in this little cottage. It was very primitive, water from the well, no electricity, but we did have hot and cold running rats. And one day, Mum opened the larder, and there was a huge rat in there. So he slammed the door, went out to the cage, got Dad's ferret, shoved that in the door and slammed it again. There was a great caterwauling, squealing inside. And when Dad came home, very upset about all this, they killed each other. Probably the best thing they could do, this rat and this ferret. Anyway, so this is the ferret song. I'm sure you know, you have heard in the past a song called My Grandfather's Clock. Yeah, okay, well, this is my grandfather's ferret, all right? My grandfather's ferret was a creature of little merit, and he lived out the back in the cage. If you looked at the bars, you'd see his eyes like little stars, glittering with impotent rage. And the smell it gave off made you wheeze and wince and cough, and its habits were unspeakably gross, and it bit off anything it could reach if you got too close. And when it came to feeding, someone always came out bleeding or looking as white as a sheet. If you opened up the door, it was all out bloody war, and that ferret was quick on its feet. It would go for your throat through 2 mufflers and a coat, or savage a finger or 2, then sit back with a satisfied little smirk, like Wellington after Waterloo. One day my Auntie May thought she'd feed the ferret some hay by poking it in through the wire. But that beast thought that meat was a much better treat, and with a speed you had to admire, clammed his teeth on her digit and went completely rigid, while Aunt May said words most unkind. And then the stupid cow opened up the door somehow to attack the ferret from behind. When that evil ferret saw that she'd opened up the door, it was up and at her in a flash. With a squeal of success, it went streaking down her dress, and May wished she hadn't been so rash. With its nasty little teeth, it bit her underneath, on the bottom, up the sides, and down the back. And Aunt May never smiled again. And neither did my Uncle Jack. Now, years and years and years I've been involved in folk music, and I've tried to research the legends and the folklore of the area, and it's amazing what you come up with. It really is quite amazing. Here's a story, the basics of which you will really know, but you probably don't associate it with our area, the River Yo, and all that sort of thing. So, listen and learn, basically, isn't it? I just got to think it starts, that's all. In days of old, when knights were bold, back in the Middle Ages, this ancient tale was written down by learned Dorset sages. 2 strangers met upon a bridge across the River Yo. They couldn't pass, they'd not retreat. They stood there, toe to toe. One was an enormous bloke with muscles in his spit. It was plain to see his waistcoat was just about to split. "I'm Little John," he roared. "Back off or pay a toll. I control this crossing, and I'm meaner than a troll." Foldy-roll. T'other bloke was smaller, but lean and lithe and tough. "I'll not be ordered off," he said, "by any passing scruff." He could move like lightning, could only just be seen against the trees and bushes in his snazzy suit of green. You could tell he had breeding, that he was proper posh, because when he had his knuckles rapped, he just said, "Golly gosh." John was rude and rustic and began to swear and curse, using words like Hogwarts and others much, much worse. Battle raged to and fro, and sometimes fro in two, with John swearing loudly and t'other saying, "Phew." They fought on for hours, they bashed continuously, except for a comfort break and a nice cup of tea. John raised his staff above his head to strike a mighty blow, and to his shock and horror, the bridge gave way below. He fell into the water and should have drowned by rights, but the gentleman in green pulled him shorewards by his tights. Ouch. As he lay upon the bank, pale and wan and sickly, he received the kiss of life, which brought him round quite quickly. "Thank ye, squire," he said in the local vernacular. "Who be you, and where be gwine in raiment so spectacular?" "My name is Robin Hood," he said. "I live in Sherborne Forest. I rob the rich and give the cash to the very poorest. Maid Marian lives in Thornford. I was going there to court her. And I always wear the green, 'cause I'm a Yeovil Town supporter." So that's how it finishes, that's how it ends, as they roar into the sunset in a green Mercedes-Benz. And if you doubt my story, think it is untrue, it's in the Dorset yearbook of 1192. I'll do one more little song, is there anybody here by the name of Dunn? D-U-N-N or D? There is! Right, magic, this is for you, matey. All right, wonderful. I've been waiting for that, this song. It's a song that was collected in Dorset way back, and you got to join in this one as well, but what I best do is sing a verse and a chorus, and then you'll get the hang of it then, won't you? He says... I once was well acquainted with a man called Mr. Dunn. A very jovial man was he and full of harmless fun. He courted well and married was at the age of 21. And now a good long family have Mr. and Mrs. Dunn. 'Cause it's high done, low done, overdone and underdone. All the little younger Dunns in and out they run. There's old Dunn and young Dunn's youngest son. And young Dunn will be a Dunn when old Dunn's done. Got it? Right, all you got to do is when I go like that, holler done, all right? Especially loud from the back. Go for it, okay. When Mrs. Dunn presented Dunn with their first bouncing son, they named him Herbert Duncan Dunn, but called him Current Bun. And now as thick as hops they run, and many more to come. Says Mrs. Dunn to Mr. Dunn, more bread or we are done. Are you ready? 'Cause there's high done, low done, overdone and underdone. All the little younger Dunns in and out they run. There's old Dunn and young Dunn's youngest son. And young Dunn'll be a Dunn when old Dunn's done. Yeah, good. To feed this growing family, old Dunn was forced to run from job to job all through the day till setting of the sun. When he got back to Mrs. Dunn, the quarter he begun. At canoodling he was champion, so well done, good old Dunn. 'Cause it's high done, low done, overdone and underdone. All the little younger Dunns in and out they run. There's old Dunn and young Dunn's youngest son. And young Dunn'll be a Dunn when old Dunn's done. So here's good luck to the eldest Dunn, likewise the youngest Dunn. Let's hope the youngest Dunn will do as the eldest Dunn has done, and strive to live like honest Dunn, such plaudits he has won. What's done by Dunn must be well done, so well done, good old Dunn. 'Cause it's high done, low done, overdone and underdone. All the little younger Dunns in and out they run. There's old Dunn and young Dunn's youngest son. And young Dunn'll be a Dunn when old Dunn's done. High done, low done, overdone and underdone. All the little younger Dunns in and out they run. There's old Dunn and young Dunn's youngest son. And young Dunn'll be a Dunn when old Dunn's done. Yeah. Thank you very much indeed. I shall now hand you back to Sullenly Strell. I think John's coming on. I think it's probably raffle time, and that's one. It's great excitement. And we yes. Have you all got your tickets for the lucky ticket as well? Right, where is he? John! They deserted me. Right. No, wrong gentleman. I'll just nip out the back a minute. Okay.
I think we look good together.
Well, I do.
What are you saying?
Drew, are you? You're internet. You're on now, are you? I can go off now, can I?
You can go off if you like.
Right. I'm off actually. It's warm up here. Yeah. Right. Bye.
Bonny Sartin, everybody. What a legend.